But I did know that this was something totally new in the history of music, even then.
And I was mesmerized by their music, but by their attitude.
We were all sexually repressed, and that's what we were screaming about.
It was almost like you would try to get advice from these songs. The experience was something new, something brand new coming into our lives that we had never lived through before.
I skipped school that day, and then we put our Beatle garb on. We had these little outfits we wore, these little caps from Tucker and Tucker downtown, and our black outfits. And so my mother took us to the airport. By the end of the day, we were sunburned because we stood there from 9 in the morning till 5 or 5:30 at night. Their plane was really late getting in.
When the Beatles disembarked from the plane at Greater Pittsburgh Airport, they called them then hard hats. Guys with construction hard hats on who hated the whole long hair thing and the whole rock and roll thing. They were throwing eggs and tomatoes at the Beatles as they came down, whatever you want to call that thing.
And I know Paul McCartney came by and he touched my hand like this. I just remember standing there thinking, I'll never wash my hand again.
How was the flight? Great, there you go, you look good. I look what? You look real good. I feel good. What was the stuff they were throwing coming in here? Looks like some tomatoes to me.
And then someone said, okay, you're all here. We know why you're here. They're not being, all right, we know why you're here. They're here. They're ready to come on. But I'll tell you what, the Beatles will play 45 minutes if you don't scream and yell. Keep it down.
And then they announced the Beatles.
The few spotlights were intensified. The Beatles came on with their guitars, and what really stood out for me, because that was my first concert, was the whole aspect of, the glamorous side of entertainment and rock and roll.
At the same time, 13,500 girls all got up from their seats and started screaming. It was so deafening.
Being swept up in the whole, how to stand on wooden chairs, you couldn't see a thing. All you heard was screaming, screaming, screaming.
There were thousands of flashes going on. I've never seen that. These flashes everywhere, trying to get pictures. Of course, probably no one did.
And all these flash cubes were popping on those Instamatics, so it looked like strobe lights. I didn't even know what strobe lights were then. But everybody looked like they were going like this. The Beatles were on stage, and they were all jerky.
So they came on stage and right into it, bum, 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 boom, twist and shout. And then the house came down.
Every time they'd start on their guitar riff, as soon as they started on a song, everybody started to scream. So the only time it was ever quiet was in between a song.
One of the things that struck me was that all the girls who weren't screaming were crying.
They did more than just music. I mean, for me it was music, but for the generation at the time, it was the style. The hair, the clothes, the whole look, the whole sound was amazing. So I can't ask them. Couldn't have asked them to do more.
We had the Beatles here, I'm sure there are lots of cities now that are bigger than we are, but they didn't have the Beatles. When it mattered, we were a big city and the Beatles came here. So I think that's important.